everybody, Prepper003 here today with another video for you, and this one is a firearm type video for SHTF scenarios. So much like I did on my militia concept videos, this one is going to be pretty much a type of firearm for SHTF, and that's going to be the battle rifle. Now, why would you want to use a battle rifle for SHTF scenario? I'm going to hit that in a couple of points here. And the first one is going to be the range. So with the extra range you're getting out of the 7.62 caliber or 30-06 caliber, depending on which one you're using, you can get a vast range increase over what you're dealing with for your standard carbines and your intermediate rifles. What I mean by that is kind of like your 7.62 by 39 and 5.56 variant rifles that have a much smaller diameter round and a smaller powder charge than your full-sized rifle round. So what that does is it's much better for a more open area. Like, say for example, you're trying to defend your farm, which has 500 yards of wide open space and a 360-degree area around it. You might be better off having a battle rifle than having a AKM variant rifle, just as an example. Now, then it also comes into being a much better thing for wooded areas as well, because the heavier round the heavier and higher velocity round is easier to go through brush and other things like that than being bucked away, kind of like your 5.56 variants, where the trajectory of the round can be thrown off by hitting these twigs and some tree limbs and other things like that, as your 30-06 and 308 might be able to buck it much easier. So that's just one big area of it, is that you're getting much bigger range out of the rifle than you are out of the intermediate caliber rifles. So now on to the biggest thing that I'm going to say about it is going to be the firepower versus mobility. And this is what a lot of people are going to talk about the choosing between a carbine and a battle rifle. So what I mean by that is that yes, you are getting a heavier hitting round and a longer shooting rifle, but you are also getting a heavier rifle and a heavier round. So your magazine, for your 20-round magazine, like for example for your HK here or your G3, FAL, or M1A, is going to be much heavier than your standard AR-15 magazine is. So with that, you're going to have to think about your gear, the way you have it set up, or if you're going to be, like for example, if you're going to have a plate carrier, how many magazines you're going to have on you, how much it's going to weigh you down in the long run. Like say for example, you're having to bug out. Are you going to be able to bug out with a whole bunch of different magazines, well, a whole bunch of magazines I should say, for your one rifle? Or are you going to have to consolidate that and go for a more minimalistic thing and then cache extra magazines and extra ammunition along the way to your bug out location? So that comes down to it, to where you're going to have to think about, do you need the extra firepower, or do you need to be more mobile? And I'm going to hit on another point to that is, like for example, the firepower might be a better thing to have if you're already at your bug out location and you're dug into a stationary area, to the point where you might be doing patrols around your property or tending to the garden and things like that, to where you might not be going on a 7, 5, 3, 4 mile movements in between each one of your locations, or you might not be on the move from one location indefinitely. And like for example, in a bug out scenario to where you have no place to bug out to, you're just pretty much being a wanderer. But you might want to have something much more lightweight if you're stuck just having to bug out to 100 miles away, than if you are having to just stay stationary at your bug out location and have to defend that one area. You might want to have that extra firepower, that harder hitting round, and being able to fire through much more things of cover, like for example trees, ground, and body armor as well, because you're increasing that round, you're also having to increase the level of body armor that your enemy might be using against you. So that's just where that firepower versus mobility really comes into play, is just which one do you want to have and which one do you want to play with. Because yes, there are some very lightweight rifles, but the ammunition is just really a big thing you have to take into consideration with the weight. And since I'm talking about the ammunition right now, I'm going to hit on to the capacity. For the most part, a lot of your battle rifles, there are some kind of exceptions, like for example with some of the AR-10 type of rifles that are non-proprietary, like your DPMS G2 Recon, that can accept the 25 round PMAG. That it gives you a little bit of step above the 20 round capacity that a lot of your standard battle rifles are stuck at. And then you can get some of the oddball ones, like there are some 30 round FAL mags out there. There's some 30 round G3 magazines. You can get the drums for them as well for most of your standard firearms. Like X Product makes pretty much a drum for almost anything out there. But, and I'm talking like for standard stuff here, not like your old 70s Galil. But, heck, they might do it. But, it's not going off on that tangent anymore. But for the most part, you're stuck with anywhere from 20 to 10 round magazines. Depending on your state, you might even be, or place where you live, you might be stuck with even a smaller capacity than that. So your battle rifle is definitely limited when you're taking a look at comparison to the 30 and 40 round common magazines that there are for your standard fighting rifle, like your AKM and your AR variant rifles out there. So that's just one thing you have to think of, is that, and that comes down to along with that firepower versus mobility, but how many magazines are you going to carry on you? So that's just one thing to take a look at and to take in consideration if you are going to choose a battle rifle. Now maybe if you have a team and maybe you're the DMR or the precision rifle, and you have another couple of teammates that are running either the same rifle as you, if you want to have standardization of magazines and parts, or if you might want to have a little bit of different roles into there, and you might want to have the capability of doing different things. For example, you might have a couple of guys running ARs and you might be running the 308. So that's just one other thing to take into account of it when it comes to a more group aspect of it. So the last thing, because I'm just trying to keep this a little bit short, is going to be the expense. Now, for the most part, a lot of your standard ARs and AKM variant rifles out there are going to range anywhere from about $600, and right now I'm trying to think of your more budget yet reliable firearms on deals. So about $600 all the way up to about $1,000 for your average kind of gun, without any of the extra cool parts or anything like that. Because accessories can cost a lot whenever you start adding it up. Then there are your battle rifles. Now, for the most part, from what I've seen, they range anywhere from $900 up to about $1,800 for the most part. Now you can get into other ones that are like, for example, this HK here, which can range into the thousands of dollars. So you have to really think about, do you have the expenses? And what that also comes down to it is the expense for magazines as well. Because for the most part, most of your battle rifles have a higher cost in magazines than your AR-15s. Like, for example, you can get an AR-15 PMAG for around $8 to $9 depending. There's some that are even cheaper on sale, but for the most part they're going to be right around that $8 to $10 range. Now your standard, I'm just going to throw out there, since a lot of people like the M1As and FALs, your standard M1A magazine is going to be anywhere from $20 to $40, kind of around the same for your FALs. Now sure, you can get cheaper magazines, but I'm just trying to stay with the more common and more reliably known ones, kind of like your factory DSA magazines. So that's, and for example, like your more exotic ones, like your FN Scars, your HKs right here, they can range anywhere from $40 to $50 and up for magazines. So with that, you have to also think about is those are proprietary magazines. Not a lot of police and military are running your battle rifles anymore. Now, sure, like I said earlier, you do have DMRs out there. Some departments run battle rifles for specific precision reasons, but those magazines, even in your local gun stores, aren't as acquirable as your standard AKMs and AR-15 magazines. So that's just another thing you have to take into account of, is that are you going to always be able to get those magazines? And that's where that expense comes into it as well. So I'm going to be doing a separate video, if you guys want to watch it, about the budget battle rifle for SHTF, but this one right here is just covering the concept of a battle rifle. So, because there is a example that I have right here that I'm going to be going over in that video of the budget battle rifle. So, thanks for watching. I want to know what you guys think about my points on the battle rifle for a SHTF scenario, how it adds options to you and to your capabilities, but it also has its drawbacks as well for its cons. So I want to know what you guys are thinking, what you guys do if you guys are running a battle rifle, how you guys set up your gear. I'm going to be doing a separate video on that as well later on next week. But I just wanted to kind of get your guys' overall general idea on that and what you guys think on the battle rifle. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Prepper003 out.